So as most of you know, our Sunday morning worship together was suspended last Sunday, March 15th, and we won't be able to meet again as a congregation until at least May the 3rd. We are in the midst of trying to make a way for us to meet on Sunday mornings, as we normally would, via Facebook and YouTube. And we're going to see how we can make that happen. As a practice for me, and hopefully as an enticement for you, I'm going to share with you what would have been the call to worship if we had been able to meet last Sunday. If you remember, we are dealing with the series, or working through the series, Embracing the Uncertain, and it seems rather timely. And this call to worship was very timely, I thought, and we're going to see how that makes it go. Now, this was actually presented in the series material as a drama, and as I read it, I thought, oh, this is my own testimony. This could be me. Someone else wrote it, but I could have written it, and so I want to share that with you. It's not been an easy week, not been an easy couple of weeks. It's not been a good week for our world. In fact, someone said to me, when I was talking about some other situation, said, well, the world isn't exactly butterflies and rainbows at the moment, is it? No. No, it is not. So here's the testimony. And here's the start of it. I like to be in control. Who doesn't? It makes life much easier when I call the shots and everything goes according to my plan. It's even better when everyone else sees things my way and we're all on the same page. But let's be honest, that rarely, if ever, happens. In my perfect little world, when problems come up, I can handle them with little or no issue. Nice and easy, neat and tidy, on to the next thing. It's even better if no problems come up, but that's not real life either, is it? So in real life, I actually have little or no control of what happens in the world around me. And when problems come, whether they're big or small, they seem to come in bunches, and they keep coming. How timely this is for our world in this moment. When something comes along that I can't handle, most of the time, my first go-to is to pray. And then that should be the end of it, right? I wish. I actually think that's how it should work. A problem comes and I pray and God removes the issue immediately. But the funny thing is that God doesn't seem to think like I think. His ways are not my ways. There's so much more going on than just the limited view and knowledge that I have. While I'd like to think that I'm in control, God actually is in control. He sees the whole situation for what it is, and he acts according to what's best for his plan. And that's not necessarily what I think would be best for me. So when a problem comes along and I pray about it, then I wait. And sometimes I wait some more. And then I still wait. And while I'm waiting, I begin to wonder, what's taking God so long to get to an answer? So I begin to create reasons for his lack of response. Maybe he wants me to suffer. Maybe he didn't hear me. Maybe for some reason my prayer didn't get through. Maybe I've done something wrong and this is part of his punishment. Then I start worrying and I wonder if I should be doing something different. Maybe I'm supposed to handle this one by myself. God helps those who help themselves. Maybe I really am in control and nothing's changing because I don't really know what I'm doing. Then I start worrying about whether or not I might be the problem. And pretty soon the little worry machine is spinning out of control, creating problems and possibilities that don't actually exist. But the thought of them, and it just takes me down paths of destruction and ruin that all end horribly for me and all of those that I love. Because I think God is silent, I fill in the blanks. I tell him what I think is going on based on what I think I know. And again, it doesn't end very well at all. And my worry and all that I'm getting wrapped up in and all of my suggestions to God leads me to doubt. And my doubt leads to despair, and that leads to hopelessness. I become irritable with those around me and try to blame them for all that's going wrong. I become incapacitated. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't do much of anything. I get really dramatic. Is there no end to my suffering? In Luke, Jesus tells us not to worry about everyday life. He tells us that worrying can add nothing to our lives and that it can't accomplish anything, so why bother? He tells us to look at the ravens who God cares for, even though they don't plant or harvest. He then tells us to consider the lilies of the field, clothed more beautifully than even King Solomon in all of his splendor. If he cares so much for them, Jesus says, how much more does he care for you and for me? So I got this flower. It's not very pretty. And it's not a lily. But it does remind me of this passage in Luke. Reminds me that God cares for me much more than any flower that is here today and gone tomorrow. It reminds me that if I seek God and his kingdom, he will supply me with everything I need. Even if I think I need more. Even if I think he can't hear me. Even if I have to live with silence. Even if, fill in the blank. I'd like to say that because of this flower, this reminder that I will never worry again. But I likely will. But the reminder of this helps me to think of God's promise. And as difficult as it may be sometimes, I'm learning to let go, to give up control, and wait for God. Because like the lilies of the field and my little fake flower here, my problems will be here today and gone tomorrow. And that's a promise I can believe in.